Well, I'm all alone here. Welcome to whatever the fuck this is. I playing with my black powder revolver I've been working on and talking to whoever shows up. We have one person watching. Who's there? Who goes there? Uh, I'm smoking and bullshitting, and I don't know. Figure I'd see who all was live chatting. I'm really enjoying the black powder revolver. There's a certain freedom that comes with it because, like, it's a cheap ass piece of shit that looked horrible to start with, in my opinion. I got it because, like, it had. How do I put this? It had the things already done to it that would be expensive and hard to do, but everything else about the gun sucked. Uh, it had some cool laser engraving on it. That's pretty bitchin'. But other than that, the gun finish wise was in the white, and it had this like shellac red grips. Not my speed, but I've been working on this thing off and on for like what 6 months now or so, maybe even longer than that. I did the grips probably closer to a year ago, and it's just one of those like I'm not in a hurry to finish it. It's been you know debating on what I wanted to do. And I finally did the sights. I actually started making the parts to do these sights, like I said, a year ago. It's cool to see them finally on the gun. I checkered the rear sight, so now that actually fucking like has a pretty decent sight picture to it. I don't know. It's a black powder revolver and it's a Colt, so its rear sight is on its hammer, and that's never going to be great. We have another person watching. I don't know what all to talk about. I'm kind of just waiting to see who shows up. So right now I'm talking about black powder revolvers. I need to get more caps and more balls and a fucking mold. I don't know what kind of a mold I should get for this because like part of me thinks like I want kind of an old school mold, and the one that I found is like $100. It's like for the Colt Walker, which I'm guessing would cast a really heavy bullet for this gun. But I I kind of want a really heavy bullet for this gun. I'm kind of I'm hoping to load this thing with very light powder charge and a big ass bullet. Probably like 30, 35 grains with as big of a bullet as I can shove on top of it. The cool part about a black powder revolver is that you're doing your own hand loading with every shot. So like I think that's kind of dope. Is it super useful? No, it's not. But the cool part about it is if you have the thing to cast a 44 caliber projectile, and that thing is made of steel, you can cast a projectile in lead, silver, gold, copper, pretty much anything that's not steel. Like a few other metals that you couldn't do, but like there's a whole bunch of shit you could cast 44 caliber bullets out of. And then black powder, you would think, oh, that's super hard to make. Not really. It's sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter. And the hardest one of those to find is saltpeter. That's potassium nitrate. So if you know a little bit about chemistry, you can go look at where to find all of those. The easiest one of those is fucking charcoal. Any sort of carbon will work, really. So just plain coal would work too. But I think that the black powder revolver is kind of dope because of that. Also, it's kind of cool that the US government doesn't think that this is a real gun. I think that's why I'm going to dedicate so much time to a series on really how to like use this thing in the modern context, because like how many places in the world can you get a Colt revolver right now that like if you knew how to use one, boy would it sure be handy. And like that's kind of where it is. Like if you don't have guns at all, it's kind of a shitty gun, but at the same time, if you put the work into it, these Italian copies can be pretty good. I don't know. I would definitely take this over many other weapons for self-defense. Anything but modern firearms, pretty much. Which I think is saying something. So like this versus a baseball bat, I think you could beat the fuck out of somebody with a Colt revolver, and it shoots bullets. I've been trying to come up with various other cool shit to make series on and whatever, and like the melee weapon stuff is kind of neat. It's led down interesting paths. I found cool cheap shit. I also learned things about beating people up with a baseball bat that I didn't know. Whoa. Anyway, I've made a Riot Shield the other day. Well, I didn't make it. I bought it from China and then I painted it. I'm getting ready to make some sort of a blade again, I think. I think I'm going to do a series on that when I do it. I'm going to try to make a knife out of a file without pretty much any modern tools. I got a couple of files I'm going to use, and then hammers and that sort of shit. That's all like the forging equipment, and I think I'm going to have a cold chisel and a hacksaw and some files. I'm going to see what I can make with just that. I might end up using a little 1x30 belt sander for the blade. I don't know. We'll see how well I can sharpen it with just files. I've only ever made one thing with just files, so might be an interesting challenge. The only shitty part about that is making a knife out of files. It then is very difficult to file because you're filing a file. I like talking about this because I get to say file a lot. But seriously though, files actually make pretty cool knives. I want to make like a short sword, Scottish dirk kind of a thing. I have a thing planned where I'm gonna like stretch out the tang as much as I can and do a cord wrap job on it and cut off like the tang of the file with a hot chisel. It'll be like a super basic short sword that pretty much anybody could make. Like it'd be a few $100s worth of tools. I think that'll be a cool series. The only thing I can't decide on that is if I do that, I'm gonna have to have like a couple hour-long videos just running of doing different things. Either that or film little individual snippets as I go along. That's a pain in the ass. Might just do like 15-minute videos, like at like different stages or something like that. And walk you through what I'm doing and why. I think the coolest stuff that I do here really is the making stuff thing, gunsmith and stuff. And now I have a third person. Still no comments. What do you guys want to talk about? Anything? Atlantis? Talk about fucking UFOs? Talk about the news? I don't even know what's up with the news. Like, It seems like the Georgia Guidestones got struck by lightning. Like, the more I look into it, and that makes me laugh even harder about that shit. It's like, was that a terrorist attack, or was that, like, God striking down a satanic monument? I really hope it was a fucking lightning strike. Like, I'm not typically a very religious person, but I've been getting there these days because of, I don't know, shit going on in the world. And I just think it would be hilarious if the fucking giant monument to globalism was struck down by a lightning bolt. I've been thinking more about Atlantis, and like, I think no matter what you put the name for it as, it's like, was there something called Atlantis? No, probably not. Was there some ancient civilization that had technology at our level now or greater than? Maybe. And the reason I say maybe is because if we disappeared right now, like as a people, if like everybody but like the hunter gatherers in Africa disappeared off the planet right now, the civilization that's spawned out of whoever was left would have very little evidence that we were here within a few generations, much less tens of thousands of years. And I think to some extent, the whole Bob Lazar thing, I'm not sure that he was really looking at alien shit. I think that Bob Lazar being Bob Lazar, they brought him in to look at a thing because he was disposable and he might have an idea that somebody hadn't come up with yet. Something like that. And in case anyone ever fucking like did what Bob Lazar did, they fed everybody some bullshit story. This is what I'm thinking anyway. And that whole line of alien shit, the whole Zeta Reticuli, all of that was just cover shit they told him because they're looking at this thing that they don't know where it's from. They don't know when it's from. All they know is that this is like some sort of craft and it is a thing. That's they know about as much about it as you or I do probably. And I'm saying is, what if it's just some like shuttlecraft from a past civilization, Atlantis, if you will. And that's what Bob Lazar was working on. My question is, we see enough of those things flying around in the sky. It's obviously not all the United States government. Maybe whatever this civilization was, maybe its survivors that survived on live in some sort of way that we can't see. I know that's weird to think about, but like, remember in China, they had this thing where like giant cities in the sky were showing up for days. They couldn't explain it, and they were saying it was atmospheric bounce or some shit. Or there really is some sort of giant sky city always there that there's a technology in place that makes it to where you and I don't see it. I'm not saying that's for sure a thing, but that's like within the realm of possibilities that could explain the UFO shit to me. And it's more likely to me that that would be the answer than the Zeta Reticuli fucking bullshit space explorers. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore on some of that shit. I went down all the rabbit holes I could go on that shit. And where I came to was, for sure, the US government has some craft. For sure, they're doing some sort of science about it. As to how successful that shit is, nobody knows. And like the scary part to me is if this shit is all like I'm saying it is, they would not have this in the hands of the Air Force or the Space Force or whoever, right? This would be Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. This would be the big business of aerospace in the United States that would have been handed this shit. And like, my answer as it coming from Atlantis is tame compared to some of the answers of where it could have come from. Like, this is why I keep coming back to these topics. It's like there's all sorts of other answers that include Zeta Reticuli and other dimensions and shit. I've been trying to wrap my head around a couple of the things that I now believe to be fact about the universe that I just can't believe anymore. Like the fact that the US government has just come out and been like, yeah, these aerial phenomenon, these are real. We don't know what these are. That should be very concerning. At the very least, you would hope that they would know what they are. And I, at first, was like, oh, this is just a big psyop for China, right? They're saying this. That's not real. No, it looks like the more I find out about this, that's the truth. They really don't know what these things are. Like, even if they have a couple of them that they've gotten crashed, they still don't know what these things are. That's concerning. And I fully believe now that the thing that crashed at Roswell was from Argentina and was being flown by Nazis. I think there's a lot about the end of World War II that is just a flat out fucking lie. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't think anyone really does anymore. I think some of the shit that's going on in Ukraine and Russia and around the globe right now has to do with this, whatever this is. The one that really gets me is Operation High Jump. Operation High Jump was 1946, I believe, expedition to the Antarctic. It was Admiral Byrd and one of the largest naval flotillas in history, bigger than the one that invaded Europe at Normandy, with 5,000 riflemen on loan from the army. And they took casualties on this expedition from something. And like the rumor that I always heard was that they exchanged gunfire with people in Antarctica. And I don't know. There's something weird about Antarctica. To this day, like I honestly wonder if, let's say, this civilization did exist or whatever, and they built giant sky cities. Why wouldn't you build them in fucking Antarctica? Maybe that's like the capital of this bullshit, and maybe the Nazis went there and made some sort of peace treaty with these things. And I don't know. But it's more than a little disturbing to me how much Nazis are tied into this, which they always are for some reason. Between the occult shit and the UFO shit, there's a healthy little dab of Hitler thrown in there for some reason. It's one of those that it wouldn't surprise me to find out that Hitler not only lived after World War II in Argentina, but like was like frozen on ice to this day or some shit, like crazy shit. There's a secret moon base. Like the list of stuff that I'd be willing to at least entertain the notion of at this point is pretty fucking high. And I can't be the only one. I don't know. Maybe I am. It seems like there's a great deal about the universe that they're not telling us. I'll be curious to see if we ever get like UFO disclosure or something like that. That would, maybe be something, but I honestly don't think that there's all that much to disclose the more I find out. I think if it is known at any level, it's in private industry somewhere. And if that's the case, then good luck ever getting that shit. Well, this has been 20 minutes of me rambling about guns and aliens and Atlantis. And I try to do these. Well, I was trying to do these daily. I don't know how often I'm going to be trying to do these now, but I need to get StreamYard back again. It's only like $20. Then I'll be able to have pictures and shit. What do you guys think? StreamYard, no StreamYard? Three people. Well, I think I'm going to cut this off here. I wanted to do some sort of a podcast, and well, now there's 4 people here. Maybe I won't cut this off here. I kind of want an AK-47. Talk about that. I mean, who doesn't want an AK-47 though? I have AR-15s, an FAL, and Flux Raider. I don't have anything that scratches the AK itch. My 22 is like my bullshit way of scratching the M1 Carbine, M1 Garand itch, because it's like an Appleseed trainer takedown rifle kind of thing. And like, as long as I have something to shoot with iron sights that looks kind of like M1 iron sights, I'm happy. I'm not as happy as I am with a gun that goes ping. Hi, Christopher Reed. Isn't that the name of the Superman dude that got turned into a vegetable or something? Or is that Christopher Reeve? I really dig this black powder revolver. I highly recommend getting yourself a high quality shooting iron for the new American West once we run out of bullets and gasoline and we're all riding horses and carrying black powder revolvers. You want to be ahead of the curve. I really want to like just buy a dozen of these and like do a batch of these, throw them on Gunbroker. The only thing is, like, I don't know what I would charge for one of these, but it would be ridiculous. Galil, 386. See, Christopher Reed. I always thought that every time I see your name, and it is Christopher Reeves. Which I think is funny because there's Chris Reeves knives, and that has nothing to do with that either. I put a XS shotgun bead on the front of a black powder revolver, and it's amazing. If I got an AK right now, I don't know what kind of AK I would want. I think I'd have to get an underfolder, right? Like, that's the iconic AK to me. I need to find an underfolding AK. My only thing is right now with the way the economy is and the way my life is, I would have to sell one of my other guns to get such an AK. Not too hip on that. Would you rather have an FAL or an AK? I guess that's my question. The FAL is already in hand. I kind of think the FAL is cooler than an AK. Being in 308 and scarcer. I want the underfolding AK with a folding bayonet. That's the badass one to me. But that's also like a, what, $5,000 AK now, probably. Although it kills me that my fucking Century Arms FAL is probably a $2,000 FAL now. It's a Australian kit from 1966 on an inch pattern receiver with the original Aussie barrel full and intact in it. I think the Khyber Pass AKs are kind of dope. I did one of those on a Mac 90. I took a Mac 90 and put some Chinese parts on it and some other parts on it and a metal dust cover on the fucking upper handguard. I did one in Packy tape too. I need to get my fucking rail put on that FAL. The hole for the handguard and the rail don't line up 100%. It's like it needs to have a reamer or a drill bit or something ran down it. And I really hate having to pay people to do gunsmithing work. Could just go get a drill bit and try doing that. Also, a little worried about fucking it up because it is FAL parts are not easy to come by right now, especially inch pattern parts. I can't even find the original fucking plastic L1A1 handguards anywhere. That's half the reason I bought a rail for it. That, and I was kind of like, anyone who'd ever fucking want an FAL right now is probably going to want a rail on it too. I don't know. Maybe that's just my own weirdness. I would kill to just have the original fucking handguards. Just make that like a collector piece. I keep thinking about selling it though, because it's the only thing I have in 308, and it's worth a bunch of money. What is the Kandahar Giant? I don't know what that is, Jay Watterson. Unless it's one of those big creature things I was talking about where it's allergic to copper and lives underground in the Middle East. I don't even know if those things are real or not. I just got told about those. That's why my black powder revolver needs to be able to shoot copper pills for killing giants. I really want to get a bullet mold for this thing, simply so I can cast my own silver bullets. Because I know the world's going to end. And, Yankees out there, and there can be only one. That's why I have silver coins. I just need a bullet mold now. I don't know about a Buddha statue. Huh. I'll have to go look it up. I think we've talked about it before like this, but I've never seen anything about it. Honestly, I wonder about how much of like the not the Bible bullshit, but just like the mythical bullshit in general is real. Like giants, vampires, werewolves, fucking there's all sorts of weird shit that I've been observing, and it's been getting weirder with what's going on with the sun. And I almost wonder if like there was some sort of something keeping magic out of the world for whatever reason. And like now that bitch is gone. What is Lori Lightfoot's? I'm gonna look that up, I guess. Okay, the mayor of Chicago. I've been listening to a lot of music from Beetlejuice lately. I don't know what that has to do with anything really, but I wonder if you summon Beetlejuice now that magic is in the world, if he could like fix this place. Is that what you're going for, Battle Elf? I don't think he would fix it. Oh, that's Lori's code name. Haha. Well, her makeup is fitting. Honestly, I think the Sasquatch thing is if that is a thing, I think they're real close to humans. That's the only answer for how they've stayed hidden this long. Is it's not so much an ape man as it is a man ape or something, and it's out there actively fucking hiding. Anthony Weiner in hiding. Well, I've run out of things to talk about really, other than Sasquatch being man apes. So I've had paranormal stories here recently, but I don't really know how much I want to talk about them. I saw a fucking C-17 land in Tulsa somehow, but it was like a bad acid trip, and I'm not sure if there were ghosts or not. And for some reason, like all the debit card machines weren't working. Like all the traffic lights weren't working either. It's not so much a ghost story as real shit that happened that I'm still unpacking, to be honest. The C-17's Battle Elf. I could have sworn that's what it was. It was a really big fucking airplane landing in Tulsa. It was, I don't know, sometime last week. Again, like I was going through some shit, and it was all like a bad acid trip, and I just saw like the sky filled with plane, and was like, Whoa, that's cool. What was up with all the fucking bank software shit not working? Did you guys ever hear about that? Or was I the only one that heard about that? There's been several things lately where like I was the only one that heard about something. Demonic looking creature in the barrio. I don't know what the barrio is. I kind of figure I'm gonna get my bullet mold to do silver bullets for this revolver, and it's gonna be my ghost gun. I'm just gonna shoot silver bullets at everything. Well, maybe it was Jay Watterson. Like I watch Canadian Prepper a lot for my news. When I decide to even watch the fucking news. Okay, well I'm gonna cut it off here. So we're talking about Mexican ghettos and ghosts and whatever. Said nowhere good. I'll see you guys later. Do you have binoculars for scouting out things? Yeah, I have a set of Nikons in my bag. It's the last question though. I'll see you guys later.